See, the time is 7 o'clock. I'm going to open the Town Council regular meeting for Monday, November 10th for Copper Canyon. If you'll join me in the pledge to the flag and Texas flag. There you go. I'm going to rearrange the agenda meeting a little bit. Right now, we're going to go to executive session per 55.1071 to consult with our attorney on pending or contemplated litigation. So we're going to enter executive session at 7:02. And we're back, and we'll close the executive session at 7:25 p.m. And we'll resume the agenda items here. Next item on the agenda is the public input. Citizens can make comments to the town council during this section of the meeting. We ask you sign up or on the sheets provided, if there's any over there, and 3-minute time limit for each speaker is pursuant to open meeting act. The town council cannot take action on items not posted on the agenda. Does anybody have any public input items for public input? Thank you. Thanks, Sheila. Mr. Tim Larson? Yeah, name and address.
Timothy Larson, 315 Noble Drive. I requested the building can be ground top to rooftop by the time it gets to the back of the building, such as one we're aware of.
Tim, hang on just a second. Can you make sure the green light's on your mic?
It is not.
Okay, so just tap it. There you go. Thank you.
Sorry, do I need to, that's much better.
No, you're good.
Do I need to start again? So the current town ordinance is from the top of the slab to the top of the rooftop. So that's the current ordinance for how tall a building is supposed to be. However, that's very different than perhaps where the ground is to where the rooftop ends up, because dirt work is brought in, a slab is placed, and so there can be multiple feet of elevation change, even from the front to the back of a building. So the effective height of a building can be very different. Flower Mound, I know, for example, uses a ground top to rooftop and not a slab top to rooftop. So that was, I emailed that request in before and I couldn't be at the last meeting, so thank you.
All right, thank you. Anybody else for public input? That being shown, there's nobody else wishes to speak. I'll close public input. And we'll move to staff, mayor, and council reports on items of community interest.
Mayor, I have something, a community interest thing I'd like to read.
Councilmember Castillo.
Troy, is that okay?
Yep.
I know how much the volunteers mean to you and the spirit of Copper Canyon, so I want to take a few minutes to tell, I think it was 2 weeks ago, there was someone in town that was in major need of yard and tree cleanup. They weren't able to take care of it themselves, and so a group of just volunteers decided to take it on themselves. Over the next 3 days, they brought their tractors, they had chainsaws, somebody rented a dump trailer, four-wheelers, cutting down the trees, hauling them large logs off to the dump, making a big brush pile. It was incredible what they did, and they worked from sunup to sundown. And by the end of it, they had a huge big burn pile. And of course, to be safe, they called our guys at 513. They came over, monitored the burn pile, and all this was just because they're volunteers, just because they wanted to help these people that lived in this house. This is just a big reminder about what we're about. We're a small town, neighbors with each other, and all helping, reaching out when we can. I just wanted to name these people. Chris Putnam, Colby Coward, Randy Winchy, Dennis Blumentritt. We know how much Dennis does. Johnny Jones, he lives in Bartonville. Jeff Garner, Mitch Dornich, and of course, one of the kindest, most thoughtful woman that we know in Copper Canyon that just wants to help everybody, and that's Lily Mullins. She put that together. She called people, went over, reached out to the homeowner, and through Troy, even though you were off on the weekend, you made calls. I know that our police department did as well, Chris. Anyway, I just wanted to recognize them.
Very good. Yep, that's very good. Volunteerism is important in a small town like we have. Anybody else have anything for community interest, perchance? Troy's going to cover something later on. With that, we'll go to staff reports. Troy.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. Just a couple of highlights that are in the report. We had an opportunity to do the kickoff meeting for our new website with Civic Plus. Councilmember Hubbard and the mayor and Sheila and I had the opportunity to meet with them last week. And so really just to talk through the formatting and the kind of the bells and whistles that they're working on to kind of create the base site. They're looking to take our recommendations and give us kind of a draft, hopefully by the end of November, first part of December. And then from there, if that's kind of the layout we would like, then we'll kind of start moving into content and start, touching that as well. So that's coming soon. We also, this week, the mayor and I are meeting with Plan Strategies to kind of give them make sure they have a consistent direction on doing that diagnostics as it relates to the ordinance from chapters 1 to 4. So we're going to meet with them one more time this week to get clarification on that. We have our Santa event coming up on December 6th. That's going to be here at Town Hall from 3 to 5 p.m. So we look forward to seeing all the kids doing cooking decorations and, pictures with Santa and all the things that we do here as well. We also, for some of you that may not realize that over the holidays, for those of you who want to fry your big turkey and you then step back and say, what do I do with all this grease? We have a grease barrel that if you want to come recycle that grease, it's over by the dumpster. If you want to pour that in there, then we'll have our partners come and take that after the new year, because some folks do it for New Year's as well, and Christmas. So we're going to keep that here on site during that time frame. Other than that, you see some upcoming meetings and events, development, continue in Copper Knolls. You'll notice the street lights went up, the signs are going up, some of the drainage improvements are getting to where they're completed. They're installing some fencing, so that project is continuing to move forward. Copper Creek Estates, the drainage project that's inside of Copper Canyon city limits, that's related to Phase 3 that's in the county. They cut the street, they're starting to lay pipe and starting to put concrete back in, so that, given the weather that we've had, they've taken the advantage of that, and so that project continues to move forward as well. Ani Ranch, if you've driven by down Copper Canyon Road, you'll see that they have roughed in some roads and some drainage ditch, so that project is also well in hand. And then our inspector with TMP drives by there frequently, and we do as well, to make sure that all their erosion control devices are in place and all those things that go along with development. Other than that, I'll turn it over to Roger if you guys don't have any further questions, and let him give his update.
Alrighty, I'm Chief Ty with your police department, and this is the stats that we had for October. We had about 56 calls for service, 180 citations. So far, this for the year, we have 23 cases altogether. As a department, in early October, we had an advanced combat pistol course where we kind of reinforced the fundamentals for our primary duty weapons. It was actually a very good course, and everybody enjoyed it in the department. I do want to say that continue to call us to let us, if you see something or you think something looks weird, or you have a specific complaint for like reckless drivers, or, well, specifically for reckless drivers, call 911. Because if you're calling for a non-emergency and we aren't on duty, you could leave a message. But if you need immediate response, right, especially for something we've been starting to see a lot of issues with people, not just speeding, but driving recklessly, passing in no passing zones, and almost going head to head with oncoming traffic. So if you see something like that, call it in, 911. And even if we're not specifically on duty, our 00 partners or Barton Bill or even Argyle, they will respond to try and head off those people, because it's getting way too close to the holidays, and I don't want to be working any fatality wrecks. That's just an unfortunate aspect of the job. But again, if you see something, say something, feel free to call us. My business card has my work cell phone number. Doesn't matter what time it is, give a call if it's something that you think is specific and you can't reach out to somebody specific on duty.
Got it?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate it. Engineer.
Schaefer, you guys have anything you want to highlight?
you know, you did a pretty good job talking about developments that we've been reviewing. We're watching the SWIP, which is the stormwater runoff on Lake real closely, because you know that's important to the community. We're continuing to review plats. Y'all have two of them in front of you today. Beyond that, we're working on the engineering design manual, which we're hoping to have our initial draft or final draft here soon. And yeah, that's just a sampling of some of the things we're working with Troy and Sheila on.
Okay, very good, thank you. And Chief with the Fire Department.
Evening, Mayor, Council, Ricky Vaughn, Fire Chief. Looking for October, we were steady. We've been kind of slow, but we definitely were kind of had a good steady call volume. But we had a really uptick right there towards the end with the big lightning storms we had. We had a couple fires, so we had a pretty steady month, but it kind of upticked there at the end. For November, we're starting to prepare for all our holiday season activities. We'll be kicking that off really with our kind of coincidental, but we'll be doing our push-in ceremony for our new ladder truck. We have a brand new ladder truck, our very first ever. And so we're excited about that, but we're going to do something we don't always do, but we're going to be, it's open to the public, and we're going to be pushing out that if you'd like to come, please bring canned foods or even an unwrapped toy, because we're really finding there's a lot of people in need right now with the food bank pantries are empty, so we're asking people to please donate. And all of our fire stations, if you do have unwrapped toys or canned goods, stuff like that, you can bring them by and put them in our lobby. But we're going to kind of push that off as we get into the holiday season. We also sponsor Sadie's Sleigh. It's a toy drive, and so same thing. Bring toys for the station for that. Other things we got going on, we're just getting ready for the holiday season. I know we've got December 6th. We look forward to coming to that and seeing Santa. And we'll have the fire engine here for that, for all the kids, and look forward to that. I saw on the agenda, I know we've been talking about it, I want to thank the staff for, I know you're going to be discussing the fire code and how important that is. I will talk more on that if you have any questions during that discussion. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions. And Mon is here as well. But other than that, that's all I have. Is there any questions for me?
All right, thank you very much. Anybody, any questions for the chief? All right, thank you, appreciate it. And we'll move on next to the consent agenda, which is items consent agenda routine and administrative in nature. As such, are considered for approval by a single motion, vote generally without discussion. Council members can remove items as they choose. And we have several items on the consent agenda. Item one's approving the October 22nd, 2025 minutes of Grand Council meeting, P&Z and BOA workshop meeting. That was a meeting we held to start an initial review of all our ordinances and giving input towards our direction. And then the next is October 27th, 2025 minutes of special council meeting. Approve the October 27th minutes of the council meeting. Approve the quarterly investment report for the period ending September 30th, 2025. And also finally approve the 2025 work order number 1 dated October 30th, 2025 for restriping work at Hill Lane and the 3 railroad crossings. So that last item is in the budget. And do we have a number on that at all, Troy?
Yeah, so we had budgeted 120,000 and it came in at 115,357.
Okay, so that work order will be under budget for us. So I'll consider a motion for taking action on approving the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
We have a motion from Councilmember Hubbard and second from Councilmember Libbert. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All against say nay. That's unanimous decision to approve the consent agenda. Moving on now to discussion items. Discussing items that we have, number 1 here is discuss the fire code updates. So as the chief mentioned, the fire code's an initial thing. It gets updated every couple of years or so. It's always good to we are at least one iteration behind it for our approval from our town council. So we have a new one coming that we're looking at right now. And I've assigned Councilmember Dahl to work with the fire department on that and bring us up to date. And I think he has a little review for us.
And actually, there's some notes in your packet, if you want to take a look at those. But I've had a couple meetings with Chief Nguyen and Assistant Fire Marshal Ahern on this. And we had a follow-up meeting then with the mayor and the town administrator. And they took the initiative to bring this to us, so I want to thank them for doing that. Yeah, in a second. I'm gonna, you took the initiative to bring this forward. I want to thank you for that. And what we're really talking about here is adoption of the 2021 International Fire Code, IFC, with amendments customized for Copper Canyon, replacing the 2018 editions currently in use. Okay. Updating this code cycle ensures that the town's development standards remain modern, consistent, and defensible, promoting life safety and efficient enforcement. And as I mentioned, ESD1 provided us with a draft that when we get down to next steps, I'll talk to you what's going to happen next there. Additionally, in the near future, we'll have to address the rest of the IFC, right, which are things like the residential code, building code, plumbing, mechanical code. Lot of work there, but for now, we're just really focused on the fire code, okay? Let me hit you with a couple highlights real quick. This is going to align Copper Canyon with neighboring communities such as Denton, Denton County, Flower Mound, Argyle, Bartonville. The updates to fire protection systems, alarms, and detection technologies provide faster emergency notification and reliability. Just to highlight here, most of the amendments that were put together are really focused on commercial use. The amendments to the residential piece of that are really consistent with the addition currently in use. There's not a whole lot of change there. Most of the changes are commercial. We don't need it right now, but that day is coming in the future where we may need it, and it's just good to be current. Don't want to start any ground fires there, but this is precaution. Next steps, we're going to send the council the draft of the amendments. I don't know if any of you have looked at the current fire code now, but it's probably 50 pages of amendments. You'll have the opportunity then to look at that, the draft, and compare it with the existing amendments that are already on the website. So you can go back and forth, compare and contrast. And then if no objections, hopefully we can, vote to adopt this in December. Those are kind of next steps. So with that said, Chief Nguyen, would you like to make some additional comments?
Good evening, Mayor,
Good
Council.
evening. Can you say your name and also what your job is, what your total
Yes, sir.
title is?
Yeah. Mayor, Council, Mon Nguyen, the Fire Marshal for Denton County Emergency Service District 1. What Councilman Dahl was stating, that the 21 updates has a lot of improvement versus the 18. I know the 18 was adopted back in February of 23. The reason why I had the 18, I had Copper Canyon updated the 18 back, the 18 edition back in 23. At that time, Copper Canyon was so far behind, about 10 years behind. So I've got Copper Canyon up to 18. So we try to do a new code adoption about every 4 years. So the 24 is out, but we always like to stay edition behind. The reason for that is there's always changes. And if you stay current with the newest edition, you think you have something new, and then they'll send out a note saying, this has been amended to this. So constant changes. That's why, like most of us, we like to stay one edition behind. And like Councilman Dahl said, if you adopt the 21, you're in line with county, Flower Mound, Bartonville, Argyle. So we're pretty consistent. Everything that you're seeing is up to date to the most modern technologies. The building constructions are just constantly changing. So every 3 or so years, you want to kind of update that code to match what's the products out there. Not only that, but when Copper Canyon adopted 2018, I don't believe they ever adopted any other codes. Talking about the International Building Codes, the electrical codes, the plumbing code, the residential codes, mechanical codes. You want it to align the same. So if you have an 18 International Fire Code and you have a 2009 building code, they don't work. So now you're setting the town up for failures, is what you're doing. What I'm proposing here, we go to the 21. I also gave Councilman Dahl, and I'm sure all of you will be seeing it, I call the Bible, but that in there, not just the fire code, but the building code, the plumbing code, the mechanical code, electrical code, swimming pool. So if you adopt the fire code, you want to also adopt the rest of them so they talk to each other. Because when you refer the fire code to the building code, they'll tell you what section it's in, and they align. So that's why you need to adopt all of it, not just one. If you do just one, it's not going to work. So you got the pamphlet. I think everyone has one. You see the demo. So hopefully everyone had a chance to kind of read through it, and I'm here to answer any questions that.
We haven't sent them the draft yet.
Oh, you haven't?
No,
Okay.
no. This is just a discussion to kind of tee it up, and then we'll send that off for homework.
Okay.
I think there's some silver lining in this, though, that everybody should be aware of, is that the benchmark that Chief Nguyen has been referencing was actually from Argyle, which was co-authored with SafeBuilt. So the fact that we have SafeBuilt on board now, they can really help us take some of the load.
Yes.
Because it's a big load. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah, so, and that's one thing I didn't mention. I was working with Argyle on this. It was about 8 months worth of work, developing all the international codes, the fire code, the building code. They adopted all the codes, and they were nicely enough to say we can share it with the rest of the towns within the district. That's a lot of legwork, a lot of time saving. So I presented the same codes to Bartonville. They adopted the same codes and saved them a lot of time. So I'm bringing it to Copper Canyon now. I'm hoping that we could do the same thing. But at the same time, we're here. If any of you have any questions or concerns, just reach out to us and we'll be happy. We can do an in-person meeting or over the phone, whatever you need. My goal is to make Copper Canyon safe and modernized and just be effective on the building. And we're not stopping. Everything is growing. And just because we don't have commercial, but doesn't mean that tomorrow they won't be here knocking on the door.
Yeah, very good. So when you say the codes was adopted for these other towns and stuff like that, there was always adjustments with those towns, right? Review process, and then they made little tweaks in the code for themselves specifically.
Yes, sir. I would say 99% of what you see for
Yeah.
Copper Canyon aligned with Bartonville and Argyle.
Yes.
So it just minor touches to the towns. So that's what we're trying to do. But overall, when we review plans, it's pretty much identical across the board.
Yes, and that's why it's very important for everybody to understand that that's why we're giving to our council members. They're gonna get a month to take a look at it, hopefully be able to spend some time reviewing it, just like Jeff did, and I appreciate your time and what you did, because that was on your own time, it always is around here. And that we will have a better product for when we get it finalized, and hopefully for a vote before the start of the year.
Yes, sir.
So,
Yes, sir.
that's the hope.
Yes, sir.
there are some exceptions in there we could talk about, or we could just save that for another meeting.
Yeah, let's just wait for another meeting.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
Please.
There are codes that you're saying are new and always changing, and those are things that are gonna apply to, new projects, new neighborhoods, new builds. Are there any things that you can say that you would make suggestions for people that are in Copper Canyon to, residents that have current homes that you could say would apply that would make our homes safer? Those of us that have homes that are 20 years old, that could prevent fires, or that would be good suggestions that we could look at.
Yes, so let's just say the house you're in was built 20 years ago,
Right.
so it applies to that year code, right? So you're grandfathered into that code. We can't just go in and say,
Of course not, but that may not make our home as safe. So
right, but if you're doing a remodel, so when you do that remodel, when you
I
do
may
that
not want to
remodel,
put $50,000 sprinklers
you-
in my home. That's not the suggestion I'm making, but just maybe some
but-
suggestions of codes that might be good updates that may be fiscally responsible.
yeah. So it's not always about sprinklers. Sprinklers, you got to have over 5,000 square feet to apply to sprinklers. But anytime that you update, you're doing any major remodels, you can update your electrical, your plumbing. So what was approved 20 years ago no longer approved for the 21. So those are the things that you're going to be upgrading. But like I said, it all depends on how much you do. If you're just doing minor changes, there's not a lot. But if you're doing major changes, then everything you do will reflect the new code. And everything from the past will no longer exist. Unless you really want to just gut the house down to bare bones and,
I was just thinking of smaller, up-to-date code type things that you might think are good changes, so.
yes,
as we are
yes.
updating
Yeah, a lot
these
of it,
codes.
like with plumbing too, back in the days, coppers, but they're finding there's a lot of issues with coppers. They're going with PEX now. They work great in the cold weather. They expand, they contract, they don't burst like during the winter time. So those are some of the new updates now that they're
There
doing.
might just be some good fire codes as we go forward, making some
Yes,
good
yes,
suggestions for our
yes.
citizens.
I actually think Councilmember Newton brings up a good point. There are a lot of old homes here, and maybe as a public service, we kind of put together a checklist for suggestions that people look at.
That's
They're
what I
not
was
going to read
thinking.
through the fire code, right?
Correct.
But we could put a summary sheet
It was
together
just a
with some
suggestion to
suggestions.
think
And
for
that's
our
something
citizens.
that we could work with the towns and help put a suggestion list together.
Yes,
A
thank you.
checklist.
Yes, thank you.
And things to look at, updating your smoke detectors.
Yes,
That's
things-
a very
things of-
important thing that
things
no
of
one
that
does,
nature.
right? Yeah.
Certainly, I'm not gonna put, like I said, a
Yes.
sprinkler system in my
Yes.
home, but there's
Yes.
some small things that maybe we could be helpful to our citizens.
We would definitely happy to do that.
Thank you.
If it's something that you like to do, just feel free to reach out to us. We'll have an in-person meeting or however you want to do
I'd
it.
like to do that if you consider meeting with me. Thank you.
I do have one question. How does the IFC interact with the engineering design manual? Because we're updating that now. They have been working on that for what, since April or whatever? Do those two work together?
They kind of stand parallel to each other, and as we're updating the rest of the ordinance references the IFC.
Okay.
And that specific, whichever specific version.
Yeah, IFC, NFPA, all that standards, right? So they all reflects each other. That's just basically I call it the Bible of buildings. So that's why you want everything stay in current years. Because they'll say, if you refer to NFPA or IBC 2021, Section 503, well, if you don't have the same year, you're not going to get the same section, and then the requirement's different. That's why you want to stay with the current, the most current. So if you want to adopt the 21, you got to go with 21 on everything else.
So it's good that we're doing that at the same time, more or less. Worked out well.
All right, anyways, thanks very much.
Thank-
We started the process here, and we're going to get the council members to review it, and we'll go from there.
Yes, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Sheila and Troy, we can get that sent out this week, the draft? Okay. All right. Okay.
And then the next discussion item is discussing draft ordinance 25-015 aviation activities. So I initiated this process because we all know what the experience of our neighbors had done and relative to a recent aviation operation attempt in the various cities around here. And the attempt of this ordinance, which is going to go under review for our town council, is to allow landowners or whatever to be able to do what they want to do, but not overly impact their neighbors and horses on their properties or anything like that for noise and those kind of things. So this is not the important thing here is this is an aviation type of ordinance. It is not a drone ordinance. Drones are an entirely different kind of thing. We can't deal into that yet. But the idea was to try to put in here some kind of guidance and control on helicopter flights, airplane use, power gliders, those kind of things, to keep it safe, yet respect your neighbors and their land use too. But allow owners to go ahead, and if they want to have a helicopter come in, they can come in for a couple times a year, something like that. Say take the kids for a ride or go something like that, or has a friend that has a helicopter. So it's kind of a melding of the operation. I'm setting it up for review by the town council and things. And of course, any input, please send us emails and we'll go from there. But that's the purpose of this whole initiation of this project that I started. Anybody have any comments on it?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So, I guess, I saw what happened in Double Oak, because I was there in the meeting when they were debating all this. And is there, I know that we don't want to completely prohibit it, but part of what I'm seeing is, this is to me the equivalent of allowing the camel to put its nose inside of the tent, and before you know it, the camel is inside the tent. It's the adage my parents used to have. What's to stop this? If we don't completely prohibit it, what's to stop someone from using this and creating an air park like what's in West Plano, on West Plano Parkway and Park Lane? Once upon a time, that was cattle country, but now it's in the middle of everything, and you have planes that, they don't come in that often, but they're buzzing you when they do come in.
Okay, so let me just, are you ready for me to discuss that?
Sure.
So this ordinance limits flight operations to 3 times a year for any one operation. And you can't have a continuous service refueling station or anything like that. That's part of this ordinance. And as I will mention this, a little familiar with the flight operations around the Metroplex for the last 45 years. When that airport was built out there in Plano, there was nothing out there. So that's not the airport's fault, it's more of the construction and growth out there that occurs. And that's the purpose of this, to prevent of continuous flight operations going through here. And any suggestions to update it, please.
Well,
But-
because the way I understand it is, the limitation of 3 flights per year is for one individual. Imagine that you have an entire subdivision of people that may not use their planes more than a couple of times a year, and now you don't have 3 flights a year, you have 3 per person, but now you may have 40 or 50 homes.
Well,
Because growth is coming. It's 20 years ago, that part of, when we were living there 25 years ago, there was hardly anything around there. Now, there's apartments, there's all sorts of things. That same thing is going to happen here, which means the density, at some point 20 years from now, is gonna get a little tighter. We may end up with a neighborhood of people that can afford planes, and they don't wanna fly more than twice a year, but their neighbor is gonna wanna fly it twice a year, and the other neighbor, and now all of a sudden, you have a whole bunch of planes taking off, or
absolutely.
helicopters.
And so when you review this thing and we bring this up again in the next meeting, we'll take any language that you can provide for us and stuff to make it acceptable to
Why not just
narrow that.
prohibit it?
Well, because, okay, why not just prohibit it? Because I believe, my position is that landowners deserve to be able to use their land as they want to. And if somebody has the wherewithal to be able to afford a helicopter or some kind of airborne thing, then he or she should be able to do that. That's why they buy the property that they have. So, that's my feeling. Quite clearly, I've been out here long enough to know I've seen helicopters land here. I've seen the Cattleman's Baron Ball was right across the Chin Chapel one year. I've seen helicopters land in lands all over. I've seen P-51s land on land down in Flower Mound, right along 2499 at Hillard Field. So quite clearly, this is an aviation community with a big airport down there. A lot of people have aviation activities. So my thought is, I don't want to limit people from being able to utilize their property, but they're going to, for this ordinance that we've written together, is you need a permit, you got to get permission, you get a limitation of 3 times per year. And we'll take any language, of course, to update it to be within a land use, not just owner, not just the property owner. I don't see us building a runway. I don't see that, but if you want language to prevent that, let's do that.
How much land would it take to build a runway for a small jet plane?
Oh, you need,
We're gonna
to-
make a point of order that there's a lot of conversation going on, and it's really hard to concentrate.
yeah.
And so I'm gonna ask that
Could
stop.
the audience please maintain silence for a little bit while we discuss this? Yes, how much runway, 6,000 feet, but you could operate a little airplane with 3,000 feet easily, so,
You would have to have that much
Yeah.
land to have that.
It doesn't take much. I know the air park in Plano, the runway isn't very,
yeah,
Isn't
I
very
think it's
long.
like 5,000 feet.
Yeah.
But anyway, so this is just a subject for discussion for you guys to look at, come up with ideas and bring it up, but I think landowners should be able to operate and come out and stuff, and I think it's, if you have the wherewithal to be able to afford a helicopter ride for the kids for Christmas or whatever you want,
So your
that's up to you.
expectation is that this is going to come to a vote next
I hope to
meeting?
be able,
You hope to be
I hope to be
bring
able to
this
have the
a
input
vote.
done so we can bring it to a full
Okay.
conclusion, yes.
Okay.
Saw a hot air balloon landed right in front of my house
There you go.
about a year ago. Dos Equis hot air balloon.
And of course, this ordinance, as you might expect people, if you haven't read it, has the exception for emergency use and care flight and all the things that we need to have for our people to be evacuated on a timely manner and stuff. But once again, I want to stress, this doesn't deal with drones at all.
And
And we haven't got that far yet.
and why is that? Is there
Because
a
it's too
broader-
complicated, it's too complicated an issue for what I wanted to get done here
Okay.
and stuff. This is just an initial, we're gonna restrict the amount of use of land for aviation activities, i.e. carrying people up and down off the ground.
Because that would impact commerce, right?
It would be a
Like the
lot.
Amazon deliveries.
It would
and
be a
that's
lot.
that's a federal level kind of,
That's a big operation. Walmart,
right?
But you did.
we have a council member that saw one over the top of her head.
Swisher.
Yeah.
Right over my head, carrying a big Walmart bag. But you did say in here that you're not regulating personal.
I'm asking for a point of order for there to be silence. This is the second time I'm asking.
Yes. Can
If-
we,
if I have to
can we
ask again,
control
I'm
the
gonna ask for
discussion?
removal.
Can we control the discussion in the audience and make sure
If
we're,
I have to ask again, I'm gonna ask for removal.
okay?
I'm at that point because I'm having trouble concentrating.
Okay, could we control the audience, please?
Mr. Mayor, is
Yes, sir.
this language, I'm not saying, right, but I'm not saying the 3 stops per year language.
It's in there. It's in there.
it is in, yeah.
Where is it?
Well, we have, our total ordinances have fines available that we can assess for violation of ordinances, for all of our ordinances. Could be fines up to $2,000. That's the maximum that I've read in our ordinances, but I'm not saying that's what we're gonna do that here. So. But we can take language and put that in here too for, violations. But we have, the overall guidance, we have the ability for the town to assess fines.
Can you come up here? Because we can't hear you very well.
Usually it's Ted that likes to talk. Ted's back there being quiet, so I'm gonna talk. Jeff Hubbard, 400 Clare Court. I guess the basic question is very simple. Are we saying as a town that we would be okay approving what Double Oak did not? Because I will tell you from my perspective, the answer is no. Ted, I'll let you weigh in too if you want.
Well, I don't think that's the purpose of this ordinance, to prevent that from happening. This ordinance prevents that from happening.
The one thing I know about really rich people is if you give them an ordinance like this, you've now given them a roadmap. And I walk in to my attorney, who's in downtown Dallas, who's a really smart man, and I say, here's what I want to do. Tell me how to do it legally. And he figures out how.
Okay, so I will say this, just on that point, you can't write enough words, and I've said this in negotiations several times. I can't write enough words if men want to find a way around them. So that would end up in a court issue down the road, which I don't want to cross that right now. But I will say this ordinance is the objective is to prevent what happened in our cities next to us. And I think that hopefully this is the first step towards it. And then we're going to get the input from the town council and anybody else on suggestions or words that need to be added to it.
I'll tell you I'm concerned.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, and I guess, so 2 weeks ago when I was at the TML conference, one of the classes that I participated in was with regards to small towns, how to enforce when somebody violates one of the ordinances. And the thing that the attorney that was teaching this class was saying is, what you will find with small towns is a lot of times people will pay whatever the fine is, and they will not cure the violation. They will just keep doing it over and over and over, and that is part of the concern. If you can afford a plane or you can afford a helicopter, you have enough money to pay violations, maybe not for years, but you have enough money to pay it for a while. So at the very least, we need to make the fines onerous enough that the person that takes the fourth flight, then they now are going, oh, okay, that really, really hurts. A $2,000 fine on somebody that maybe is bringing in 10 million a year, it's a drop in the bucket.
Well, we'll take whatever language you suggest we have in the review of this process when we get to further on, bringing it up for further on. But I'm sure there's some state regulations on how much you can fine people for stuff too, so. But we'll take whatever you suggest and write it down, and we'll bring it forward on an adjustment to the ordinance.
I'd like to make a quick point. I think we've got two different things going on here, just high level. We've got a specific ordinance that it's got a lot of details, but then we also have the big picture of somebody else did something in another town, and we're having a knee-jerk reaction in passing an ordinance, whatever it may be, right or wrong. So keeping that in mind, this is the first restriction of a private property right that I've seen in my time up here. Not that it's wrong, but it is what it is. It's a restriction of a private property right. I get both sides of it, and I hope we have a very respectful discussion with regards to how this plays out. I understand the complete banning mentality, but at the same time, I remember talking to my neighbor, Dr. Kidwell, a few years back, and he always tells me stories about growing up out here in the 60s and 70s, and he's telling me how cool it was that their neighbor, the Shacklefords, I believe they were one of our founding folks out here, had a little dirt strip out there, and how they'd back their little plane up into the woods, and he'd have to push Mr. Shackelford to get him to go off, and that's right in the middle of our town. Neat story, but just wanted to have everybody have that perspective as they go through this, so thank you.
I'm thinking about the fact that I live next to the Shacklefords, and I love that story, and about how I don't want to restrict people's rights, but I also don't want to hear Mr. Shackelford take off at, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, all hours of the night and take 50 flights, all the time. There's a balance between, his rights and also my rights, and so there's that thought, or him crashing into my house. So I kind of have to think about my children and my parents living there and my life of him having a makeshift plane and the possibility of what that means. So I kind of want to make sure that what you're saying, having a respectful discussion about safety and also people's rights and making sure that we're really respectful about that. So there is that balance.
And that's the addition out of this whole thing, is just get the discussion started and everything. I just, I looked at what happened next to our neighbors and things, and I don't want the same kind of activity occurring in our town hall and our operation for people and we have more condensed, much more condensed housing and animals and horses and those kind of things that get scared, run into fences when they have noise than we did back in 1972. So things do change, but I'm trying to maintain, or my thought was on this, to maintain the right of landowners to be able to do things too, but not have a full airport available to them. Anyways, that's just initial thought for you guys. Bring up your subjects later on. Once again, it's just a discussion item for right now. No action to be taken on this, and then we'll fine tune it later on and get to a position where maybe we will take some action on it. Do I have any other input or any other questions about that? Okay, thank you. That ends the discussion items. We'll go to public hearings. We'll now open a public hearing on replatting. I'll open a public hearing at 8:12. And this is concerning the Great Commission lots 6R-1A, 7R-1, and 7R-2, Block A, being replatted, a replat of lots 6R-1 and 7R, Block A of the Great Commission Center, in addition to the town of Copper Canyon. Texas recorded, I have to read this whole thing. Texas recorded in document cabinet 5, page 435, and document number 24-429 of the plat records of Denton County, Texas, in the Clersey-Cooksey Survey, abstract number 270, and the William Benjamin Hawes Survey, abstract number 557, town of Copper Canyon, Denton, Texas. The purpose of the replat is to adjust lot lines and reconfigure the lots located south and southwest of 3730 Landseer in the town of Copper Canyon. And I believe that is public hearing. Is there anybody wishes to speak on that replat? Do you wish to speak on the replat? No? I don't have any questions. Does anybody have any questions on the replat? So I would like to say, though, this is Dale Andrews' property and stuff, and I want to thank Dale for his service. The first time we've seen him here, as far as from the council position, he gave his time for us, which is a great thing, volunteering and everything, and we appreciate your time and everything you did on the town council while you were here.
Just a quick comment on,
Yes, sir.
on both of these, since we're in discussion. I think both of these went through P&Z very rapidly, no issues. And with this new subdivision ordinance that we're going to apply or approve later today, these two would not even be on the agenda because they'd be considered minor plats.
That's
right,
correct.
so.
All right, so we'll just end the discussion on that one. We'll go to the second item of the replat, which is replat lots 1R-2-1R and 1R-2-2R, Block A of the Haberson Edition, being a replat of lots 1R-2-1 and 1R-2-2, Block A of the Haberson Edition being 7.626 acres in the J. Lockhart Survey A758 and the J.R. Teague Survey A1258, Town of Copper Canyon, Denton, Texas, Denton County, Texas. The purpose of the replat is to adjust lot lines for 772 Orchid Hill and 776 Orchid Hill Lane in the town of Copper Canyon, Texas. Is there any public input relative to the replat of that two lots? Hearing none, I will close public input on the replatting of those two at 8:15. I will resume the public input now hearing for what was opened on the last meeting concerning the ordinance amending the town of Code of Ordinances by repealing Chapter 10 subdivision regulation and Chapter 10A subdivision ordinance in its entirety and replacing with the new Chapter 10 subdivision ordinance. That's a reopening of the public input, so I have to say the time. Anyways, this was a discussion we had last time on finishing up or attempting to finish up a rewrite of Section 10, or one of our ordinances, one of many we need to adjust. This one has been worked on for a lot of months, and we finished up. Chase was the one who had input, which we've accepted into the ordinance. And I'll ask Chase, Councilman Libbert, are you accepting of the language we've inserted?
We talked about last time, there were very small changes that we made that seemed to be in line with what our discussion was, so.
Okay. Is there any other discussion amongst the council on this, adopting this ordinance as written?
I do want to say that I think it's been really great to have members of our community actually have a lot of input in this. You had the grand workshop. I know that we hired an outside company, and that was not very successful. And then we got the people in this town that, if you look out, a lot of volunteers that have volunteers, current volunteers, put their minds together, and it's been, almost over a year. We came up with something. I want to congratulate those people that worked on it, this council, this mayor, for sticking with it, listening to what we said, and not listening to an outside source, what we want for Copper Canyon. And that's why I think that we can move forward in this today, because we do have people that listen to what we want. Councilmember Libbert worked hard on that. We all gave our input, and you guys listened to us, and I appreciate that.
Thank you very much, Councilman Castillo. I agree with that totally. That was 100% effort by Chase through all this long time. And everybody had their input, and we adjusted the language to make it acceptable, I think. With that, any other comments from the council on the Section 10 subdivision ordinance? Not hearing any, I'll close the discussion, and I will close the public hearing for the Section 10 subdivision ordinance at 8:19. Moving down to actions and discussion items. Discuss, consider, take action regarding a proposal for audit services to be provided to the town of Copper Canyon for the year ending September 30th, 2025 from Hankins, East Up Denton, Tone, Say, and Scarborough, LLC CPA. Troy, do we have any comments on that?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. This is a new audit firm. The previous audit firm that we've had for the past 3 years, they've done a relatively good job for us. There was some delays in this past year in getting information back from them. And so we felt like, after 3 years of having one audit firm, it was time to kind of put some new eyes on it. We had Carl, who is with the firm, is here in the audience as well to answer any questions. We went through and we got a recommendation from Double Oak, and then also we checked references. They provide services to Hickory Creek as well as Shady Shores. Talked to all those folks, and they had good things to say about the firm. So we feel this is a good find for the town of Copper Canyon.
Yeah, so the staff has done a review. We recommend that we change our auditor every couple of years, get a fresh eye on our books and everything, although they're very well done. So I'll take any discussion, consider any discussion on the subject of accepting this new audit firm.
So I just have a question, Troy, or what guarantees, we had a discussion about this during the TML conference. We are required by Texas law to have our audit in no later than March 31st. Our last audit was just incredibly late. What guarantees do we have that if we provide the data necessary on time, that we will get our audit back on time so that we as a community can actually satisfy Texas state law?
Right, and so I think that's one reason we're changing firms, is to ensure that they provide that. And their record shows that based on these other 3 cities, that they've met those requirements as well, from the references that we've spoke with. So we're feeling pretty confident that this firm will come through with us. So we'll have a meeting, if this gets approved tonight, we'll be meeting with Carl and his team here very shortly, and trying to get everything teed up and get them all the documents they need to perform the audit.
Is there any punitive financial cost to them if they get delayed?
Currently, there is not.
Okay.
So even though our audits had come in late on the previous year from before, there's no penalty to us from the state for that.
This is a new, that was passed, I believe, on September of this past year.
Yeah.
That this was, the state's requiring cities to have everything completed by the 31st of March of this upcoming year.
So we will keep making sure that we accomplish that goal.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll put you in charge of it.
Hey, Troy, on that note, has the state ever checked on us before? to make sure our
They
audit's
have
done?
not the town of Copper Canyon. It's something it's a new thing, and I think, Garl, I mean, if you want to speak to it, you certainly can. This is just a kind of another self-check that cities are doing their audits prior to approving their budgets and whatnot. So I don't know of any city personally that have received any fines or issues of not finishing their audit.
No, I mean, based on what we were taught in our financial boot camp class,
Right.
Penalty doesn't come from the state per se, but what can happen is if you do not meet that deadline, and there is a resident that we have to, say for example, we have to raise our tax rate, and a resident realizes that we have not met that deadline, then he can file a complaint with the state attorney general preventing us from raising that rate. Now, we haven't had to do that in a while, but we never know
Yep.
what's going to happen in the future.
Can I make a comment?
Sure.
I think that your concerns are well-placed, okay? And this contract, I assume, is basically their standard contract. Is that correct?
That's right.
So what I suggest council does, if they want to ensure that it's done by March 31st, is when you pass the contract, add some language that says, subject to, that you want verbiage added to this, subject to the audit being completed on or before March 31st in accordance with state law. And then, something to that effect.
Yeah, that would be great.
So
Yeah.
that's what my suggestion would be to resolve that concern, which is, like I said, it's a well-placed concern, so.
Okay, thanks. I want to mention that even though we had our budget late, as you pointed out, Councilman Hubbard, Troy did a great job getting our budget out on time, even though our was late from our numbers and stuff like that. So that was a very good job on his part. With that, let's go, and consider a motion for taking action to approve the new,
That can only happen subject to what she just said.
right, amended with the contract, we'll add that language in. If somebody wants to propose that language.
Okay.
Consider taking action to approve the new services and to be provided by Town of Copper Canyon for the year ending September 30th, 2025 from Hawkins, Estep, Deaton, Ton, Say, and Scarborough LLC CPA with their standard contract amended with the language that they have to have it to us by March 31st, on or before March 31st, 2026, or whatever year it is, each year, March 31st each year.
I'm trying to write it. Subject to the contract being amended that the language be on or before
March, the numbers will,
March 31st, the audit.
yeah.
Okay, I'll try. I propose that we approve the contract, the proposal for the audit services to be provided to the town of Copper Canyon for the year ending September 30th, 2025, from Hankins East up, is it Deaton, Ton, and C, and Scarborough, LLC CPA, subject to the contract amended to the language for the audit on, being completed on or before March 31st. and that would be for 2026.
March 31st for every year of the
For
contract.
every year that the contract is
Yeah,
is active.
And we'll get it in the right position on the contract, won't we, Sheila, when we write it up? Okay, very good, thank you. And we have a motion for that. Do I get a second?
I'll second the motion.
Seconded by Councilmember Hubbard, and all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All against say nay. That's unanimous, accepting that services from the Hankins LLC. Next item on the action discussion items is discuss, consider taking action regarding recommendation from Planning and Zoning Commission to approve the replat of the Great Commission Center's lots 6R 1-1A, 7R-1, and 7R-2. Block A being a replat of lots 6R-1 and 7R, Block A and of the Great Commission Center, an addition of the town of Copper Canyon, Texas, recorded in documents cabinet 5, pages 435 and documents number 2024-429 of the plat records of Denton County, Texas, in the Clearsey-Cooksay Survey, abstract number 270, and the William Benjamin Hawes Survey, abstract number 557, town of Copper Canyon, Texas, Denton County, Texas. We already kind of discussed this in the public meeting, but I'll consider a motion for taking action to approve of the replat.
I'll make the motion that we approve the replat of the Great Commission Center's lots 6R1A, 7R1, 7R2, Block A being a replat of lot 6R1 and 7R, and Block A of the Great Commission Center, in addition to the town of Copper Canyon, Texas, recorded in document cabinet 5, page 435, and document number 2024-429 of the plat records of Denton County, Texas, and the Clearsey-Cooksey Survey, abstract number 270, and the William Benjamin Hawes Survey, abstract number 557, town of Copper Canyon, Denton County, Texas.
I'll second everything you said.
Seconded.
Can you repeat one more time?
I love it. That's great. Seconded by Councilmember Libbert. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against, say nay. And that's unanimous vote for approval for the replat. Next item, discuss and consider and take action regarding a recommendation for the Planning and Zoning Commission to approve a replat of lots 1R-2-1R and 1R-2-2R, Block A of the Haberson Edition, being a replat of lots 1R-2-1 and 1R-2-2, Block A of the Haberson Edition being 7.62 acres in the J. Lockhart Survey A758 and the J.R. Teague Survey A1258, town of Copper Canyon, Denton County, Texas. I'll consider a motion to approve the replat.
I had one question, Mr. Patterson. Was this purely just preference? Because there was a note in here that says that it was changed to conform to our current regulations, but there are already 2 lots, right?
Yeah.
So you didn't have to.
All I did was move the property line over 40 feet.
Yeah, it wasn't something that
That's all I
our rules changed that you had to go do this. Yeah. That's it. I'll make a motion, we approve.
Okay, motion by Councilmember Libbert, and I'll take a second.
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Castillo. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against, say nay. And that's unanimous vote for the replat of the Haberson Edition. Next item is discuss, consider, and take action regarding ordinance 25-016, amending the Code of Ordinances of repealing Chapter 10 subdivision regulation and Chapter 10A subdivision ordinance in its entirety and replacing with the new Chapter 10 subdivision ordinance. Year and a half later, I'll take consider a motion for approval of the replacement in its entirety of Chapter 10 subdivision ordinance.
I'll do it. I make a motion that we approve the ordinance 25-016, amending the Code of Ordinances by repealing Chapter 10 subdivision regulation and Chapter 10A subdivision ordinance in its entirety and replacing it with a new Chapter 10 subdivision ordinance.
Motion by Councilmember Newton. Anybody second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Councilmember Hubbard. This takes me great pleasure in saying this. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against, say nay. And that passes unanimously. Chapter 10 is adjusted. Yeah, I know. And discuss and consider and take action regarding Resolution 25-14, casting a vote for a candidate in the election of the Denton County Appraisal District Board of Directors. Hang on, I'm gonna find that. Got it. So what is this? This is our ability to nominate somebody and vote for somebody for Denton County Central Appraisal District. There's 4 members, 4 people that have been nominated for the position. And discussion item on this, does anybody in the council have any comments or any input towards anyone on this commission or any reason to recuse himself from voting for any one of these individuals?
One question, I don't see any bios. Is there a recommendation from,
I think we did, I thought we did make our.
It's just the
You
name.
make
Yeah,
your
it's
own
just the
choice.
votes. This is what the appraisal district
This is
sends
all they
us.
give us. This is all they gave us.
bios?
Correct.
No.
They
We
do
gotta
not.
vote on 4 people that we don't know and have no bios.
We
I
ha-
actually know 2 of them, so.
You know 2 of them? Do you have any input on the 2 of them?
The one that I know the most is Mike Hennifer. When we lived in Carrollton, he was one of the city council members. He has been the precinct judge, Denton County precinct judge, I don't know, for probably 20-some odd years. I served under him as one of the precinct employees during one of the elections. He is a really top-notch guy. Honestly, he's a family man. He's lived in Carrollton since 1980. He is retired now, but he owned a business in Carrollton. He is probably one of the best men I know. Ann Pomical, I mean, she's a figure from around here.
Yeah.
They're from the Louisville area. I went to school with her son. Both Jeff and I went to school with her son. So, and she's been involved a lot in the area, but honestly, I cannot say enough good things about Mike Hennifer. He is awesome.
I'm just gonna go with your recommendation, because, I mean, what can you do but follow that up? I just do the Facebook thing and look up names and do like a Google search and just try to like look up names. And so Ann's name came up, just kind of highly recommended. And not that Mike's didn't, but she was kind of the hometown girl. So that's kind of what I did for a deep dive search. So, but Victoria came up with a overwhelming recommendation.
He literally lived down the street from me.
So,
Okay.
2 streets down from me, so yeah.
All right, well, here's how I'm gonna handle this voting, since we have a good recommendation for one person, but we really don't know the other 3 people, and our impact on this vote for the position is 1 vote out of 2,000. So what I'm going to ask is, how I run down, I'm gonna ask for read each name. I'm gonna ask for council members to make their vote, should they choose it. If we get a majority for 3 people on 1 person, that'll be our choice. That it's a majority vote. I'm gonna make it easy, I hope. I'm gonna start off with Mike Hennifer. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That's the vote. Mike Hennifer is a choice for us. So I will consider a motion to accept Mike Hennifer as our candidate for election of Denton County Central Appraisal District Board of Directors. I need a motion.
I'll make a motion that, sorry, I make a motion that we submit Mike Hennifer's name as a member of the board for the Denton CAD Board of Directors.
Thank you very much. Is there a second to that motion? Seconded by, motion by Councilmember Hubbard, seconded by Councilmember Dahl. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against, say nay. He had surgery. He had surgery kicking. Well, pass him those down, get them, all right? All right, so he is now nominated for our Central District Board of Directors. Discussion items, and that finishes our action and discussion items. Discussion on future agenda items, council member may request that an item placed on a subsequent agenda for consideration. We are not gonna deliberate anything. I'm gonna mention one thing here. We had a resignation from our P and Z earlier. We'll have to fill that position later on in the next meeting. And I'll make anybody that wishes to join, to be on P and Z, please get your application in to Sheila, and she'll record that for us, and then we'll figure out who's gonna fill that one slot on P and Z that we have to have.
Who resigned?
So I'm not gonna say. Anyways, anybody else have anything else that they'd like on a future agenda items?
I would like for us to, at some point, one of the things that we talked about a lot on, at the TML meeting is the importance for town councils to have an ethics policy. I couldn't find one on our website. So I really would like to consider revisiting, if we had one, and we now we don't have it, we should really revisit it as the attorney, and, that class was taught by the mayor, the town manager, and the town broker for the city of Navasota. And the thing that they kept saying is, trust is the only currency that the city government has. And I think we need to show that we, as a town council, can be trusted.
I don't disagree with you with that, and we'll put you in charge of coming up with our ethics plan and for proposal for the next meeting. And I will say this, when I was on the council, as a council members, we did have an ethics ordinance, and then that was removed.
Yes, that was
So-
last mentioned 15 years ago, Victoria, so that's a long time in coming.
So we will look at that process later on down the road and work towards that in 2026. It's an excellent suggestion. Anybody else have any suggestions for future agenda items? Very good. With that, I'll consider a motion for adjournment.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Motion made by Councilmember Newton, motion seconded by Councilmember Dahl. With that, I'll take a vote. For all in favor, say aye. All against, say nay. And we are now adjourned at 8:40.
She said 10, I'm like, oh.
It wasn't 10 years ago. Huh? Oh, we got it.